Hi, everyone. How are you? I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We did not record last week because there was some people with COVID issues. So I'm going to kind of do a double header here a little bit. Um, but I do hope you and your family had a very blessed Thanksgiving. It's a very special holiday for so many. And it just, it's just so nice to have everybody around if you have them. And it's the grandchildren always make it, right? They make it so special. We begin the new liturgical year this coming weekend with the first Sunday of Advent. And it's hard to believe we're here again, right? And as I pointed out to the children, they were wondering why, with this first gospel of the first Sunday of Advent, it still had to do with watching and waiting and preparing, And I explained to them the first two, there's always the cross, the bridge between the two liturgical years, there's always a message about Jesus' second coming. So the first two Sundays of Advent has to do with that. And the second two is really the preparation period for the birth, the first coming of Jesus. So we started to talk about Advent. This week was really interesting because one of the children had COVID. So I certainly wasn't going to the house. So we did it through FaceTime. And it worked. I just want to say it's doable. So if you have grandchildren that are not close to you geographically, you can do it. Uh, is it the best thing? Well, no matter what you do in life, I think it's always great to be in person. But if this is what you do, this is what you do, and you can do a lesson just as well on either through Zoom or through FaceTime that it works. All right. So that was really interesting. So we introduced the first Sunday of Advent, talked about the liturgical year, and to remind them that this is year B in the cycle. And who is that about? Really, whose gospels are dominating in this year B is the Gospel of Mark. And I said, you're going to hear a lot about Mark, and, explaining to them that was the first gospel written. And so all of that came with it too. The lesson itself had to do with, preparing ourselves, getting ready, making ready for what is about to happen in Advent, and to prepare, and ways we prepare, and the traditions we use to prepare. So I reminded them, get out that Advent wreath and get those candles going. And also for the little ones too, you can do the calendars. I mean, I think even the older kids, some adults like the Advent calendars as well. But there's a lot of competition out there for these young children. And I see my kids doing too. You have like Elf on the Shelf. How do you bring in the Advent message to compare with the meaning of Elf on the Shelf? I mean, so it's a lot of mixed messages, I think the children get. So I think our responsibility in terms of faith is to not so much, you could talk about how you feel about these things, but the secular types of things that prepare us for Christmas, but to also really concentrate on Advent. The church gives us this season, which I think is a very special season. We're always in such a rush to get to Christmas. And I get that, but it's not Christmas, it's Advent. And the time that the church gives us during these 4 weeks is really very precious and very preparatory for what yet is to come, and to help us think and reflect on this Jesus who is coming, how to be patient. And that's one of the lessons we can teach children of all ages, this whole idea of being patient. I think anyone who's been pregnant knows what that means. You're waiting for someone to be born, and you have to be patient during those 9 months, for all that, you go through with that time. So Advent is a special time. And like I said, we used Zoom, and that seemed to work. But for the older children this week, for the first week of Advent, was a story that they had to read about, basically about what happened during the Babylonian exile, and explaining that to them. And it's based around the readings from Isaiah, and Isaiah was a prophet who lived through the Babylonian exile. And as we were reading this story, and I had read it before we had the lesson, I couldn't help but think of, the people of Israel still going through that today. I mean, there's still, there were always people in exile. until like 1947 when they did find land. But trying to explain to the children, this is one of the reasons why there's so much conflict and looking for a home. And it's very complicated. And I didn't pretend that I knew everything about it, nor did I want to get that deep with the kids. I mean, I'm sure they're hearing about it. They are hearing about it in school. But I just thought it was very interesting, so timely that that would be part of the lesson for this week. So we did talk, we have had a chance to talk about that as well. Um, so what I had them do, as I said, we got ready for the first week, first Sunday of Advent. And in our particular, for the older children, I don't know if it was for the younger, but there are prayer services. And I told the children it was their job this week to get their whole family together and do this prayer service. Um, they're ready. They can do it. And they were excited about it. And I said, choose an Advent kind of song with it and light the candle and just follow it. And if you need me, I will be here if you have any questions. So they took this on. They're really they were excited to have this responsibility and to share with their family. I think as children get older, and we see this even when children go through school, parents are very involved and the children are younger. And even with their religious ed programs, their catechetical or whatever, they're very, or at least they're very interested. I don't even know if that's the word, but they take their duty pretty seriously for the most part. As children get older, you even see this with school. Parents aren't involved in their school so much anymore. The kids get embarrassed. So when the same thing is true now. So anything that they can do at this age to bring the rest of the family together in prayer or reminding them of Advent, I think is really a wonderful thing to do. I'm anxious to see how it goes. I will let you know next week, but I think their parents will be very proud to see, not only what they know, but that they're actually being the leaders. And we did discuss this week servant leadership and what that means and compare different people they know, not only in their lives, but in the world, who would they consider to be a servant leader. And basically, that's one of the things we need to follow with Jesus. Jesus was the perfect servant leader. So I will let you know next week how that all goes. I hope you have a great rest of the week. I'm wishing you a blessed Advent as we start this special time of this year and this new liturgical year. Take care. See you then.